Hello, comrades. CommissarBRO here with Finland. That's right. Finland's been one that's been requested quite a few times, and I keep forgetting to do Finland, so I decided why not go ahead while I have it fresh in my mind to give it a shot. Now, Finland is an interesting country who, like, if you're just looking at the market alone, they've already got a huge amount of money in raw materials, wood, paper, and whatnot. Huge, like compared to like their consumption, that's gigantic, and that's also very awesome. It's actually what leads to them being one of the richer countries in the world, per capita, anyway. So, yeah, they're pretty much set up for greatness. We can get rid of research. Again, that's not really important to what I'm doing. Let's see. We can bring down healthcare a little bit. Just balance the budget, man. Just balance the budget. That's all we're doing. I think I'm going to max out tourism because this is one of those countries, because they have a high stability and approval rating, you can get away with that. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to speed it up a tad bit, see what happens a little bit, give it some time to really get in there and, find out. Corruption is really low in Finland as well. And we don't even have our government slider completely maxed out, but corruption is still lowering. So that's a good thing about them. Let's see. Well, we already pretty much have everything we need as far as laws go. We do have official languages. Let's look at diplomatic relations. The world is not exactly doesn't hate us. There's no country, I think, that really hates Finland, which is a great thing as well. Yeah, nobody has any bad feelings towards Finland except for Eritrea and Somalia, but they kind of just start out on the shit list with everybody, so it doesn't really matter too much that they don't like us. We're high in resources. Finland is pretty much done as far as economy goes. It's kind of more of you just finding a good balance for them, like a good, what's the word I'm looking for? A good, I don't know. I don't really quite know what I'm trying to say. But basically, the gist of what we need to be accomplishing here is we need to be positive in budget. So I'm going to bring down healthcare. The reason I bring down healthcare all the time, I'm sure I've mentioned this in one of my previous videos, but I do it because it doesn't affect economy. All it affects is, obviously your population's death rate. It does affect birth rates as well. But education and those, actually lower those particular stats. We could just raise taxes, but I do kind of want to do this with tourism. Like, you see how tourism is slowly rising? So that's kind of why I'm sticking to that particular point there. We might be able to bring down government just a smidge, just a little bit, and that should be able to assist. You could, arguably speaking, if you're feeling a bit more aggressive, you could take over your neighboring countries. They have a little bit bigger, Sweden has a bigger army. Norway, not so much. However, they do have a lot of resources. Then again, they might not have as much as Finland does, especially considering Finland's population is smaller than Sweden. Well, you could take over Norway. That wouldn't be such a bad idea. You do share a border. Well, no, you don't, actually. Oh, yeah, you do, right there, the northern border. Look at me trying to act like I know what I'm talking about, and I don't. Anyway, so, yeah, they are on the northern border there, Norway is. So, ideally, you could take them over. They have high infrastructure. They have more, more of the population is in the working range. So, that could assist. I don't know. It'd be one of those things I would have to do to find out. Ooh, and inflation's getting a little high for my liking, so I'm going to raise our interest level to 7.1, and hopefully that stops it from rising anymore, because I put down the interest level to 0% to kind of allow for some unfettered growth, but I don't think it turned out exactly how I was hoping it would. We could raise global tax. I think that won't be such a bad idea. We might just do that. Raise it by 6% all the way down the board. See how that affects us. Not much really. The main thing is if you want to be positive budget early on, you really kind of just have to raise your income tax. But again, I'm trying to avoid that. Oh, there we go. Now it kicked in. That's not bad. We're pretty low down there. I just need to make sure inflation doesn't get too high. That's kind of my biggest concern right now. Corruption is still lowering even after we brought it down on the budget a bit. We might be able to bring it down just a bit more. We'll bring it down just a bit more. And that should be able to get us in the positive. As you can see, our income is actually growing bit by inevitable bit. So eventually we will be positive. And look, our people are already getting richer. And let's see how tourism's doing. Tourism is it's rising. It's rising. It's getting there. Tourism, again, is one of those things that it takes a while to build up. Like, I would give it a few years, really, especially if you want it to be higher than personal income tax. You could, hypothetically speaking, get rid of tax altogether or bring it down to like 5 to 10%. Now, I know that's really rough to do, especially when you don't have a country who's willing to take on your debt this early on. But it would allow for tourism to skyrocket, and skyrocket would make, and tourism would eventually make up the difference there. So that is a hypothetical situation you could proceed with. I'm not going to do that, mind you, but you can. And you can see, like, look, we're already, our money is right where we want it to be. And we just raised our infrastructure budget a little bit so that we can actually get it up to a high level. It's increasing little bits by little bits. Again, Finland is really easy. I mean, it's sort of like how Belarus was, where we were playing with Belarus the other day, and Belarus pretty much, you know, there's not much finagling you have to do with it. The main point with Belarus, what made it so poor, was its incredibly high inflation, not really the country itself. And look, as I talk, my debt gets higher. Oh, man, that's not good, is it? Well, I'm not too concerned about it. I somehow feel like this particular economy is going to level itself out. And even then, you can see our diplomatic relations are rising. And our foreign aid is like, we don't even have it in the positive. So we'll put it at least in the middle there to increase our relations with other countries. And bam, look at that. 22 with France. So it looks like France might actually be someone who's going to start giving us money here soon enough, at least through economic aid. Because it seems like, to me, all we would really need is just some economic aid. Maybe 2 or 3 countries providing aid to us, and we would be in the positive balance. So, yeah, and look, even our production is growing in all areas, but our consumption is growing as well. That's that inflation for you, man. That's that inflation for you. I need to get rid of that. It's still too high for my liking. 4.5? I don't like 4.5. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't really feel like there's a whole lot I can do. If with the particular strategy that I'm going with, again, it's far more of a time thing, and it becomes far more noticeable what I'm doing as time goes on. And eventually, our income will be so great from tourism, because look, it's rising. It seems like 20 million. It raised what, 30 million roughly in about a year. That's not much, but when this number gets higher, and especially as our stability rises, once our stability gets above 80%, you know, this number is going to just jump up incredibly fast. So, you know, that's something else as well. We could arguably get rid of propaganda. Do we want to do that? I don't think so. I think that we are good in that respect, you know, because it does improve your approval rating, and it does help boost stability. So I think that we're going to keep putting money into that for now. And even then, look, see, we're right back over where we need to be again. Yeah, this is nice. This is nice. The past couple of countries I've played as have been, except for Somalia. Somalia was an interesting one, you know. And look, Somalia is even making a little bit of money down there. Good for them. Good for them. I'm half tempted to just assume their debt because they're so poor guys. But you know, I mean, what else is there really to say? It's pretty easy to do Finland. I like Finland. Finland's very interesting. More than likely, if I ever do a Hearts of Iron game or something like that, I might give Finland a try. The only problem I have with games like that try to simulate world domination, I guess you could say, is they're not as liberal as this game is, where I can just go onto a market and I could, you know, buy units that are being sold by every country in the world. You know, a lot of games don't have features like that. They don't make it where you can actually take a smaller country that doesn't have as many resources as, say, Russia or the United States and take over the world. Like, making history, you can't really do that. You have to be someone who has potential, almost like scripted, pre-described potential. And that's how you'll have to do it. Like, you can play as one of the European powers, Germany, France, so on, and you could do it that way, you know, through some fine maneuvering. But, like, to pick a country like Finland, which in other games, Finland is not very rich, or not rich, but more like it doesn't have enough industrial capacity or so on, so you can't do anything with it. So that's one of the main reasons I do love this game, is the fact that it gives you so much freedom in designing your country and allowing you to do crazy things with your country and so on and so forth. So yeah, I know that's kind of random and not exactly to the point of what I'm doing, but yeah, I figured I would just mention that. Look how much money we are making. This is great. This is great. I'm gonna lower this global tax mod just a smidge. I'll bring it down about, there we go, down to 4%. Because the more you raise that, the more it inhibits production growth, which is what we do not want to happen. We don't want to inhibit that too much, because obviously we want to meet that area that makes our people richer. Like, you can already see, since we started playing, our people had a per capita of 24,000. Now it's 31,000. That's a huge, huge increase per capita. So, yeah, Finland is off to a great start. I feel like this is one, and I hope if anybody ever gets to try, you know, they kind of follow some of these tips, you know, because I feel like it would work out really well for you. Finland's a great country to play as. It's real simple. You know, it's one of the easier countries. They're not having to worry about going to war with anybody. There's no immediate neighbors who want them dead. So it's kind of like, it's pretty much just up to you to design it how you want. But then you still have access to the ocean if you want to, you know, like, say, for example, I want to go to war with an African country. I can do that. I just have to buy the Navy, and I just have to move the Army there. But, you know, yeah, that's neither here nor there. Look at that. We're actually richer than Norway is. Go us, man. Go us. That's how we do it. That's how we do it. Yeah. Anyway, this has been CommissarBRO. I hope this has been helpful, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this little playthrough. It's been a little bit more informative than, or talkative, ranty than I would have liked. But hey, you know, it can't always be the best, right? Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you have a great night.